Hi everyone, my name is Jessie James and welcome to another episode of the Pop Astrology podcast. And today we are doing what many have been waiting for quite some time, the Synastry analysis of Taylor Swift and Karlie Kloss. I have a couple of other videos about Taylor Swift. I did one episode where I did a whole analysis of all the reasons that I think she's gay. And then I did another episode all about Taylor Swift's personal astrology, and I will link that above here. So today I'm just going to focus a little bit on Karlie's chart, and then of course on the combination of Taylor and Karlie's charts, aka a synastry analysis, to examine the ways in which they match and the ways in which they clash. And spoiler alert, they have a very heavily fated karmic past life relationship situation going on that is just like they were destined to meet each other. Now, I must say, there is so much like Taylor is with Lily Donaldson, Taylor is with Karlie Kloss, Taylor is surprised with Diana Agron again. And I really don't have a horse in this race. I think that's the expression, a dog in this fight. I don't like that. That seems too violent. So a horse in this race, horse racing is also pretty violent. I don't have a cup in this cabinet. I don't have a cup in this cabinet because whoever Taylor Swift is with, as long as it's not a man, I will be happy. Lily Donaldson, gorgeous blonde woman. Karlie Kloss, gorgeous currently brunette woman. Diana Agron, gorgeous woman. Zoe Kravitz, gorgeous woman. All women are beautiful. And so Taylor, whoever you're with, I am happy for you. But this specifically is about Taylor and Karlie Kloss because whatever you say, whatever they may say, I do strongly believe that Taylor and Karlie had a romantic relationship and potentially have a romantic relationship now. I think it's very funny when like the Taylor Swift haters go on about like, oh yeah, she's the greatest songwriter in history. Then why does she rhyme car with bar in like 5 of her consecutive albums? Because Karlie's nickname is Car. I slur your name till someone puts me in a car. Karlie's nickname is Car. If she slurred Joe, people will be like, oh, what? You want me to put you in a tow? I don't know. Obviously, I'm moving. I'm moving my whole life across the country in 9 days. And I have just been so like Facebook Marketplace, pre-move out inspection, took my cats to the vet to get meds for the plane. The vet told me that my cats are overweight, and I don't believe her because I look at them. I'm looking at them right now, and they look quite svelte. So I might need to get a second opinion on that one. But just like taking pictures of stuff, listing it on Facebook Marketplace, messaging with people. Hey, is this available? Yes. Are you interested? Here's the pickup address. Them. Oh, that's a little far. There are settings for that. Change your settings. Only view within like 5 miles or whatever. It is not my fault. Don't waste my time because you don't know how to change a setting on Facebook. But over and over again, I'm like, yes, I will finally sell this thing. And then they're like, ooh, too far. Pasadena lady, why do you live there? And it's just like, I'm also trying to spend more time with my friends before I move. And I'm also cat sitting for my friends who are on vacation. And there's just so much going on. And through it all I really care about is astrology and watching movies. I have been on such a movie kick. I started watching old Elizabeth Taylor movies to prepare for The Life of a Showgirl because the second track is called Elizabeth Taylor. So I watched Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, and then I watched Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. And then I got slightly distracted from Elizabeth Taylor movies because I watched Basic Instinct, and then I started watching a bunch of Sharon Stone movies, and then I watched Starship Troopers because then I got an Paul Verhoeven kick, and then last night I watched Single White Female. That is a spoken version of what's happening inside my mind at literally every single moment of every single day. And I am excited to move and just get to my parents' house and be like, I do nothing now for at least a little while. But of course I'll still do astrology because I love astrology more than anything. My whole life will be astrology, cats, and thunderstorms, and I cannot wait. But anyway, Taylor Swift and Karlie Kloss. I'm not going to go into too much detail about like the whole timeline of their relationship in this video. For more information about that, I recommend watching my Me Out Now, a Kaylor analysis video that I did like at the beginning of the year. But I personally believe that Karlie Kloss is the muse for a lot of Taylor's music. Specifically, most of the Reputation album is about Karlie Kloss. And with Taylor, everything is intentional. Like every single thing she does has intention behind it, which is so Saturnian of her, little Capricorn rising. But when she performs Call It What You Want, a song from Reputation that most people assume is about Joe Alwyn, that little twink, she never enunciates. She never goes, call it what you want. Yeah, call it what you want to. She goes, call it what you want. Call it what you want. Karlie what you want. Karlie what you want. And that I find extremely telling. Aforementioned car bar, sneaking in through Karlie's garden gate, you're the West Village, Karlie lived in the West Village, etc., etc. Most of this is talked about in my Kaylor analysis video. The two girls have had relations. The two girls have had sex before. And that is pretty much like not debatable, in my opinion. Many will try to debate you on it, but many are just not really that into girls hooking up with other girls. Personally, I'm very into that. So, and as I mentioned, I've already done an episode about Taylor Swift's birth chart. Taylor Swift, as we know, was born on December 13th, 1989 at 8:36 a.m. in Reading, Pennsylvania. She is a Sagittarius Sun, a Cancer Moon, and a Capricorn rising. There is an alternate birth time floating around out there that makes her a Scorpio rising, and there are people who feel very strongly that she is a Scorpio rising. I personally feel very strongly that she is a Capricorn rising. She simply is a Capricorn rising, primarily because it makes literally zero sense for this poet's third house of communication to be Capricorn. It makes a bajillion degrees of sense for this poet's third house of communication to be Pisces. And for her first house, her personal, who she is, the finance guy, the man, to be Capricorn. Also, Taylor clearly loves the planet Saturn, and Saturn is the chart ruler of someone who has a Capricorn rising. Taylor's chart ruler, if she were to be a Scorpio rising, would be Mars. She doesn't write about Mars in any of her songs. I think the only reason people think she's a Scorpio rising is because of the song Mad Woman, when she says, "Does a scorpion sting when fighting back?" However, I don't think that's any sort of confirmation of her rising sign. But I mean, who knows? Maybe Taylor will come out one day and be like, the rumors are true, I'm a Scorpio rising. And we'll all be like, oh, okay. And learn how to deal with that, because that's astrology, man. And then we have Karlie Kloss, who was born on August 3rd, 1992 at 3:40 a.m. in Chicago, Illinois. This is her birth chart. She is a Leo sun, a Libra moon, and a Cancer rising. And because she is a Cancer rising, her Libra moon is her chart ruler, which brings me to 7. Taylor Swift says, love you to the moon and to Saturn. Taylor Swift's chart ruler as a Capricorn rising is Saturn. Karlie Kloss's chart ruler as a Cancer rising is the moon. I don't know. That could be nothing. And then she also uses this moon and Saturn imagery in the Karma music video with Ice Spice, where they each have the moon and Saturn on like a lasso, basically. And yeah, you know, many will call this confirmation bias. However, I think it's just confirmation. So Karlie Kloss as a second house Leo sun is someone who shines very brightly. Obviously, she's been a Victoria's Secret model for a long time, and now she still does some modeling, but I think she's mostly working on running her business, Code with Klossy, and she recently invested in the WNBA team, the New York Liberty. But her background and what she's most well known for is obviously modeling. And actually, I got really mad because this article I was looking at about her buying shares of the Liberty, the headline was Victoria's Secret model invests in basketball team. And it's like, she's more than a Victoria's Secret model, like so much more, but sure. But anyway, Leo is creative self-expression. Leos want attention, and they also naturally draw attention. A Leo would never ask for attention. Leos aren't like, please look at me, please look at me. That's a little closer to like what a Libra would do, an unhealed Libra would do, I think. Leos are just about expressing themselves creatively and shining really brightly and naturally drawing other people's attention to them. They want attention, but they're not going to ask for it. They're going to do things that get them attention. And so with Leo in the second house of money and worth and value, this is a lot about like making big, bold financial moves that open doors for you. Obviously, Karlie Kloss is a very controversial figure right now. She is married to Joshua Kushner, the younger brother of Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law. Of course, if you know the lore, Josh Kushner is gay. He's in a long-term secret relationship with his friend Mikey. Karlie Kloss is gay. She's theoretically, possibly in a long-term relationship with Taylor Swift, and they are potentially secretly married, and they potentially have children together. Who knows? There's a lot out there. I don't know what to believe. I'm a Pisces rising. I'm very much a dreamer, so I do like to believe in romance, but I understand that it might just be completely wrong. And I still choose to have hope. So this would make Karlie and Josh in a lavender marriage, which has become more and more apparent over the years, especially at Jeff Bezos's wedding earlier this summer, when there's videos of Josh just like completely running off a gondola in Venice, basically, and leaving heavily pregnant Karlie Kloss in the boat alone, like not offering to give her a hand or help her in any way. And it's like, this is not how a straight man treats his wife. And if you know any men who treat their wives that way, that man is probably not straight, for the record. And a Leo in the second house is going to make financial moves that open a lot of doors for them, like marrying someone who has a lot of money and power to be able to get closer to that and theoretically cause some chaos from the inside. We'll see what happens there. But they also make financial moves that are directly tied to their self-worth. So I think Karlie investing in the WNBA team, the New York Liberty, really showed her values. She's very dedicated to helping women and women in sports. She has built her own business, Code with Klossy, where she helps young girls and women and minority women to build their computer science skills, to get more STEM education, and to get better jobs and better futures. She is very, very committed to helping women get ahead. And so that really indicates to me this second house Leo. Like, she has money. She has worked very hard and made very smart decisions to get as much money as she can, basically. And she's using that money to fund things that are really important to her and things that help to advance women in this country. I also listen to a lot of podcasts that Karlie goes on because I'm always nibbling for just a little extra Kaylor content. And Karlie is very, very vocal to this day about abortion and the importance of abortion rights and funding Planned Parenthood. And so I think that people who are like KK Karlie or like she's gone full MAGA don't really pay attention to what she's actually saying, because it seems that she is using this relationship for a reason, but it's not a reason that aligns with her personal values. She's getting close to power to do something, but she remains very liberal and not MAGA in any way. This is also how I feel about people who are like, Taylor Swift has gone MAGA. I'm like, Taylor Swift, who sued a man who groped her for $1 and won. Do you think that she would support a man who is convicted of sexual assault? Probably not. And not only that, but a man who like drags her name through the mud constantly, like even to this day, is always talking about Taylor Swift isn't hot anymore, this. And you think that she is aligned with him politically? The life journey of a second house Leo sun is to make big achievements and accomplishments, and also to enjoy the finer things in life. The second house, once again, is all about money. They really care about the quality of things. These are people who do care about like designer materials and such. This is someone who is confident about money. They are confident in their ability to make money and their ability to manage money, but they also can have a problem where they tie their self-worth so much to how much money they have and how many possessions they have. And so in this lifetime, they are being called to tie their self-worth to who they are. Removing external factors, removing wealth, removing possessions, understanding how they have value as a person, as just a human being in this world, and then not having to worry about one day losing their money or making a bad decision and things going away and then being like, oh my gosh, I'm no one. Like, I don't know who I am without my money. That's her journey in this lifetime. Karlie Kloss's Sun in Leo is conjunct her second house Chiron in Leo, and Sun conjunct Chiron can be a person who experiences existence as being painful, like every single step of the way on their journey to their life purpose. The Sun is your ego and yourself and your personality. Like every time they just try to be themselves, it stirs up old wounds. It stirs up that really deep Chiron wound. And this aspect can really go two ways in your life depending on the person and specifically their maturity level. But the first path is that this person becomes extremely wise and uses what they've learned to heal their own wound to help other people. The second path, however, is that this person lets their wound overtake them. They allow it to make them a miserable person who not only is in pain and suffering themselves, but also shares that pain and suffering and misery with all the people around them. Fortunately, I think that Karlie Kloss is on the first path. I think that's more common for women to be on the first path and men who tend to do less self-reflection to be on the second path. But what I think is interesting about Karlie having Chiron conjunct her Sun is that it indicates someone who was never allowed to be their true and authentic self. They have a hard time expressing their true authentic self. And this is obviously so poignant for a person whose whole career they've had to date a man. She's been dating Josh since she was like 19 years old, I think. Date a gay man who does not love her and have to pretend that she's in a marriage with him while neither of them love each other because she has to hide the fact that she's gay. And he has to hide the fact that he's gay because it's not acceptable to be gay in these positions that they're in, with these immense followings that they have in a country and a society and a world that is so deeply homophobic. This is also someone who feels like they're an outsider in this world, and no matter how hard they try, they really just feel like they can't fit in. And I think that when you watch interviews of Karlie Kloss, you can see this come through. She's very awkward. She's probably autistic, and it's very relatable the way that she feels awkward. Like, oh, you're one of the most beautiful women in the world. She's like 6'1" or 6'2". I'm so in awe of her. I love tall women. If I saw her, I'd probably melt. But she feels so awkward and out of place all the time because of this placement, and also non-astrologically, probably because she's neurodivergent. Karlie's moon is in her fourth house of Libra, and this just indicates someone who just wants a very beautiful and aesthetically pleasing and peaceful and tranquil home environment. Their emotional bonds with their family are very important to them, but so is having a home that's very serene and like a retreat away from all the chaos, so that when they're in that home with the people that they call their family, they can focus on forming those emotional bonds and tune out the chaos and all of the noise of the world. It's also someone who has a very keen eye for beauty and art and knows just how to pick the right things to make their home feel as beautiful and them as possible. And Karlie has this T-square going on with her Ascendant in Cancer on the left side, her moon in Libra on the bottom side, and her Uranus-Neptune in Capricorn on the right side, making a T-square in cardinal signs. And having her Ascendant in Cancer square her moon in Libra has sort of similar significations to Chiron conjunct Sun. It's someone who the way that they express themselves, your Ascendant is the way you come across, is different from how you actually feel emotionally. Because the moon is involved, that's probably because someone, your mother or a mother figure or an important woman in your early life, taught you that it's not safe to show your true feelings, and so you should hide them. The moon is also the most sensitive part of you, like your deep soul, and so these people can take things that other people say very personally. Like if someone disagrees with one thing you say, they can be like, this person just straight up does not like me. And honestly, I have this aspect, and that has been a huge problem in my life, especially with being neurodivergent, like just believing that you can't have a disagreement with someone and then still be friends with that person was a big learning lesson for me. And I imagine the same for Karlie. This is a rough aspect, honestly, to have. But the benefit of having this aspect is it's a crash course in learning not to take things that other people say personally, learning to get all of your validation from yourself and not look to other people to like you in order to have a good opinion about yourself, to learn that really the only person whose opinion you should care about at the end of the day is your own. And if other people are telling you, no, this is wrong, this is bad, but you feel like it's really right and really authentic to who you are, you need to trust yourself on that and not just quit doing something because other people don't like it. Within reason, of course. Like if you're a psychopath and you're like, I love hurting people, and other people are like, hurting people is bad, they've got a point. But if you're Karlie Kloss and it's just like being scared to share your real emotions, yes, you should trust yourself on that one. Now, Uranus, Neptune, and Capricorn square the moon in Libra. Having your moon square Uranus indicates that you're someone who needs a lot of space and freedom on a daily basis. These are people who hate to feel too fenced in, whether that's emotionally or physically. And this is a signature of someone who just has a very strong need to feel vibrant and alive as much as possible. Doesn't that sound nice? And like at any moment, something could happen that would completely change the course of their lives. That's someone who has Uranus, the planet of change and chaos, touching their moon, like your very deep inner core. At your core, in your soul, you need a little chaos. You need a little element of surprise, and you're always ready for something new to come in. Now, having the moon square Neptune is someone who is very sensitive, very impressionable, and someone who has a really hard time establishing and specifically asserting their boundaries. Neptune obscures. Neptune is boundaryless. It can be really hard for these people to understand where they end and where someone else begins, and therefore, which emotions are theirs that they are responsible for, and which emotions are someone else's that they are not responsible for, which burdens really do belong to them, and which burdens they've taken on from other people's plates just because they're Neptunian. They want to be helpful. They're like, oh yeah, I'll take a burden. I'll take another one. I can handle as many as you want. Just keep giving them to me. And it's like, no, those don't belong to you. Set them down. You do not have to solve other people's problems for them. They honestly probably don't want you to. And because Neptune has this like obscuring quality, it can also be hard for these people to actually see what's in front of them and feel what they're actually feeling. Like they're such sensitive people, they can pick up on emotions so easily, but they might interpret that emotion completely wrong, usually by projecting their own insecurities onto it, and just run with that. Be like, this is what I'm feeling, and so this is true. And it's like, that's not true. You've got that one wrong. Please don't make it your whole personality. And yeah, there can be some issues here, but it also does make like a very compassionate, genuine, empathetic person. So that's good. And then Uranus and Neptune opposing Karlie's ascendant means that they are conjunct her descendant. And the descendant is how you interact one-on-one in relationship with other people, and also the type of people that you're usually looking for. So Uranus and Neptune being on Karlie's descendant, which is in Capricorn, is so interesting because Taylor has Uranus and Neptune in her first house, the type of person that she is, which is Capricorn. Meanwhile, Taylor's descendant is in Cancer. Honestly, synastry-wise, someone who has the opposite rising sign as you is like a very instant synastry because your descendant is each other's ascendant. When someone has Uranus on the descendant, it indicates that they look for rebellion from other people. Like when they enter a relationship with someone else, they expect or desire that other person to bring out their more rebellious side. It can also indicate that their choice in partner in general is an act of rebellion in and of itself, which lends itself very well to a queer relationship, because in our current society, astrology is very relative. It is relative to the time period and the society in which you live. Being gay is rebellious. It is an act of rebellion because it goes against social norms and standard patriarchal heteronormative social conditioning. When they interact with this person who brings out their more rebellious side, they understand that it's better for them to follow their own interests and their own dreams than to capitulate to the societal expectations that society has for them. And they will push and work for their right to be in whatever kind of relationship they want to be in. Which is once again why I think that Karlie's current marriage is very strategically selected, because at the end of the day, she wants to be able to be with women, and she's trying to make the biggest impact she can and get as much money as she can before she and Taylor and whoever else is involved blow the whole thing up. Neptune on the descendant is a little bit of like a savior complex. This person is either looking for someone else to save them, or they want to save someone else. There is some sort of like God or savior complex relationship thing in whatever relationship they're in. It's also someone who tends to idealize and romanticize relationships, and it makes someone very compassionate and empathetic once again. And then the last thing I want to comment on in Karlie Kloss's birth chart before I move on to her synastry with Taylor Swift is that she has her north node at the anaretic, the 29th degree of Sagittarius in her 6th house. This indicates that her destiny is Sagittarian. It has to deal with sharing information and wisdom with the world related to Sagittarian things, adventure, travel, foreign places, foreign people, foreign concepts, spirituality, mind-body practices, etc. And I'm reading this as saying like introducing foreign concepts in the US, like not being homophobic, to people through the 6th house, the work that she does every day. Every day she's helping these women who are in her Code with Klossy programs achieve their dreams and get out of their small town that they might be stuck in forever if they don't develop these computer science skills. She really is helping people expand their worldview and expand their wisdom. And so that is just so in line with her north node. Her north node being at the 29th degree means that like she is really urgently called to do this. Like this could be honestly her last life with a 29-degree north node. Every fiber of her being is like, accomplish this goal. We need to accomplish our destiny. Now, if we look at Taylor Swift and Karlie Kloss's synastry chart, Taylor Swift is the inner circle in blue and Karlie is the outer circle in orange. You can see that they have a lot going on here. I'm going to break this down for you part by part, but I'll start by saying, as I mentioned, they have opposite rising signs. So each of their risings is on the other person's descendant, which is a really natural placement for a relationship. I think that's really cool. I think that's probably the first thing that drew them together, is this just like we fit really well. And this is also called 7th house synastry. Your descendant is always in your 7th house. And the 7th house talks about relationships, one-on-one relationships, including romantic relationships and marriage. So they have very natural 7th house synastry here with each other. Now, this north node of Karlie's that I was just talking about happens to be at the anaretic degree of Taylor Swift's 12th house, the last degree of Taylor Swift's birth chart in the whole sign system. I'm not really a Placidus girl, but I understand that this would be different in Placidus. Your 12th house is the house of your subconscious. I talked a lot about the 12th house in my most recent podcast episode about SZA. So if you want to learn more, I definitely recommend checking out that episode. But essentially, the 12th house is your subconscious. It's things that are hidden. It's behind the scenes life. Physically, it's been traditionally related to asylums and prisons and attics, but psychologically, it's related to your subconscious. When people have 12th house synastry, meaning that one partner has a planet, or in this case, a point, the lunar node, the north node, in the other person's 12th house, that indicates some sort of past life connection. So Karlie having her north node, her destiny at a very critical and important degree in Taylor Swift's 12th house tells me that these people have met before. They have interacted and had relationships in their previous lives. And because of this and some other aspects, I think that they have a lot of unresolved karma from their past life relationships that they are meant to resolve in this lifetime. It's very urgent even. Karlie's north node is at the 29th degree. They're like, get it done, like fix it this life. And I think that's honestly why it seems so important. I mean, for a million reasons. But one of the reasons that Taylor Swift seems so like urgent and like so important to really build this whole structure and then tear it all down, burn down her house, expose the entertainment industry for being so homophobic, and share with the world that she is queer and has been writing songs about women all along, is because this is such an important part of her destiny. Like, she really needs to be able to be in a relationship with Karlie and not have to hide things anymore to achieve their life purpose. Now, Taylor's North Node in Aquarius is in Karlie Kloss's 8th house. And the 8th house is also a water house. It's also very deep and mysterious and faded and transformative. So they each have their North Node in one of the other person's most karmic houses, once again indicating past life connection, unresolved karma. Not to mention that Taylor's North Node, Destiny, is conjunct Karlie's Saturn in Aquarius, and Saturn is the planet of karma. And having a North Node Saturn conjunction in Synastry indicates that the Saturn partner, Karlie, introduces a lot more discipline into Taylor's life, and Karlie can even act as the teacher for Taylor. And as long as Taylor is willing to accept this dynamic and accept that Karlie is going to help her achieve much more spiritual growth by helping her be more disciplined, the relationship works really well. Especially since Saturn is Taylor's chart ruler, it's not even that big of an ask because Taylor is naturally a very disciplined person. It's not like she's taking a really lazy person with no discipline and being like, if you whip into shape, then we can have a karmic relationship. It's just like, hey, if you keep doing what you naturally are inclined to do, this thing's gonna work. But once again, this aspect really indicates unresolved karma from a past life relationship, saying that in this life, your purpose is to heal that unresolved karma and work through any bad karma and turn it into, transmute it into, alchemize it into, bonus points, a positive relationship and lessons and learning from things that haven't worked before. Taking an old relationship and transmuting it, alchemizing it into something that is new and better for both of them. Taylor's North Node is also conjunct Karlie's Lilith in Aquarius, and I haven't talked too much about Lilith on here before. I'm trying to find the perfect chart to do a really good Lilith episode, but in general, Lilith represents the dark and primal feminine. The part of us that can't be tamed and is naturally wild, that demands to be acknowledged and respected. And this North Node Lilith conjunction indicates such a dynamic and magnetic attraction between these two people. They honestly have so many of these aspects that's like magnetic connection. I can't even imagine, especially because they look so much alike, like seeing each other for the first time. That makes me feel crazy inside, honestly. I'm yearning. I am once again yearning. And I'll insert a bunch of clips of them in here, but it really comes through. Compared to how she was interacting with Travis in the New Heights podcast, and people are like, oh my gosh, this is true love. It's like, no.
We're the perfect, I'm telling you, she makes me so much better. So...
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
I know yours. Yours is the sunshine.
Oh,
like the sun.
You.
You're welcome.
You're the princess because she's beautiful and has blue eyes and red lips and blonde hair and she's wearing a crown. You're the princess. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
This is true love, you fools. If your husband treats you like this, once again, he's gay. A North Node Lilith relationship has a lot of transformational or alchemical potential. But this is not in an easy way. It's going to require both of them to face their deepest fears and their inner shadows and really commit to their own self-growth and self-discovery. But they can bring out really hidden aspects and gifts in each other because by doing the work to face their shadow and face their deepest fears, they can help uncover gifts and talents and potential that was previously untapped that they didn't know they had until they looked really deep inside themselves. And that obviously is a good thing for both of them individually and for their relationship. This, however, does require them to be honest and transparent with each other in this relationship completely. There is no hiding behind a mask or persona. If you do that, it's not going to work. You have to really be willing to be vulnerable and let the other person see you exactly as you are. And this relationship can change their priorities and their values and their belief system in a way that better aligns them with their soul's destiny and who they are meant to become. Another couple of aspects that are very fated involve Pluto. Pluto is also a planet that when I see aspects to it in Synastry, I'm like, something here is fated or karmic or a combination of the two, especially the first one I'm going to talk about, which is Taylor Swift's Pluto in Scorpio, making a square to Karlie Kloss's Saturn in Aquarius. Pluto and Saturn, that is fated, that is karmic, that is destiny. Now, I say this is a difficult aspect. This is not something that's like, yay, happy relationship, love forever, let's go. It's something that both people really have to be committed to working through, and they both really have to be committed to making their relationship work in order for this to be a relationship that works. I don't know, that sounds a little silly, but you know what I mean. This indicates tension in their relationship. A square aspect is a difficult aspect. It indicates a clash between Saturn, which is the planet of responsibilities and duty, and Pluto, the planet, I said duty, and Pluto, the planet of power and transformation. It's going to bring a lot of challenges into the relationship, and it's going to bring a lot of each of their personal trauma to the surface, and they're going to need to be willing to use healthy coping mechanisms to work through their trauma and process it instead of hiding it with whatever maladaptive coping mechanism they want to or instinctively drawn towards, in order to work through these challenges and work through this trauma so that they can be in a healthy relationship where they both experience a lot of personal growth. The thing that is for sure is that they have the power to change each other's lives. Whether this is for the worse or for the better is the question. But something about a Saturn square Pluto aspect in Synastry is that it creates a dynamite sexual and physical connection. And who knows if this is true, but I would imagine that sexual attraction is what first drew Taylor and Karlie together. None of them were like, oh, I want to be with this girl long term. But it turned into something that was like so much deeper than that. But the magnetism and the physical attraction is what first brought them together. Taylor also has her Pluto in Scorpio making a trine to Karlie's Ascendant in Cancer. And once again, this indicates that their meeting was fated. It was intended to help them both achieve a greater personal understanding and personal and spiritual growth. Taylor, being the Pluto partner, basically is like helping to nourish the soil around Karlie, which she grows from, your ascendant being the way that you present to the world. And Taylor can offer Karlie really profound insights on her life path, specifically about the things that aren't super visible on the surface, specifically about power and transformation and what lies beneath, that Karlie wouldn't easily be able to come to on her own. Taylor has a certain perspective that really helps Karlie in her life journey. And not just about overcoming the obstacles that arise in her life, but really understanding why those obstacles showed up for her in the first place and how they impact her on her spiritual growth journey. This also indicates that they have an intense and dramatic communication style, that their personal interactions might feel very intense and magnetic.
Elbows on the table. Even closer, even closer. Karlie, move your hair.
Karlie has such a good stare.
No, but
Okay, and stare.
Your eyes are moving. Damn it, did I just blink? No, you didn't blink. It's fine. Your eyes are moving.
oh dang it.
Dude.
And communication is very important in this relationship, and it's not just about an exchange of information that communication is like basically known for, but a really deep knowing and understanding of each other. Like, this is not a superficial relationship. This gets down so deep, and to be able to go that deep and maintain a healthy relationship, you have to have excellent communication. I saw a metaphor that a Pluto ascendant trine synastry is sort of like when you prune something to make space for something even bigger and better to grow in its place. That's what happens when this Pluto person meets this ascendant person and they form a relationship. They are so much bigger than the sum of their parts when they're together. Another ascendant aspect is that Taylor's Chiron in Cancer is on Karlie's ascendant in Cancer. And again, ascendant aspects in synastry are extremely powerful with my little Italian hands. And poor Karlie and all of these Chiron aspects. She's got her own Chiron on her sun, and now she's with Taylor Swift, whose Chiron is on her ascendant. She can't escape anywhere. And as with Chiron conjunct the sun, this aspect can have multiple manifestations. It can be positive or it can be negative. The positive side is that this relationship with Karlie can help Taylor heal her old wounds, her really deep Chiron wound. But if the relationship doesn't help her heal it, then it can just bring it up over and over again. Every time they interact, this wound is getting hurt. And if she's not doing the work to actually heal it, then it's just going to become a really painful relationship for her. But one of the things I read that's really interesting is that this conjunction can help the Chiron person, Taylor Swift, make themselves whole again. And obviously, we've been talking so much about dual and triple Taylor's theory, braid Taylor theory, and Taylor Swift's whole journey to becoming one person again instead of Taylor Swift the brand and Taylor Swift the poet. And so this was really cool to me because Taylor Swift does have a big problem right now where she is not whole. She is two separate people and she needs to integrate them back together. And seeing this, I was like, well, maybe Karlie is the key. That's actually something that I learned from a podcast that Karlie was on. In Look What You Made Me Do, when Taylor says, I don't like your kingdom keys, they once belonged to me. Karlie said something like, I've got the keys to the kingdom keys, KK, Karlie Kloss. So I think here she was saying, I don't like that you think that you own Karlie Kloss to Scooter Braun, or to like the Magicide in general, because Karlie was obviously already dating Josh Kushner at this point, but she's saying they once belonged to me. Karlie was once mine. And whether she's going to kick you out or pull you into the closet, she hasn't decided yet, but she's going to get her back. But anyway, this Chiron ascendant aspect finally also introduces a very strong attraction, physical attraction, and magnetism into the relationship. Another reason that Taylor was naturally drawn to Karlie is because Karlie has just that little something in her aura or her electromagnetic field or whatever we sense when we see someone and we're like, I need to talk to them. That said, I can heal your wounds. I'm the person to talk to if you want to heal your wounds. Taylor and Karlie have a lot of really positive synastry aspects that indicate a very happy and successful and easy relationship. The first one of which is Taylor's Sun in Sagittarius making a trine to Karlie's Venus in Leo. And a trine is the easiest and most supportive aspect you can have between two things. So this indicates just like a really easy flow and connection in the relationship. They both really appreciate each other and find each other attractive. They have just a really easy time when they're together. Things flow very easily. And they might not have the same qualities or the same interests, but they have qualities and interests that are very complementary to each other. Because Karlie is the Venus partner, Taylor might find her especially beautiful and attractive. And because Taylor is the Sun partner, Karlie might find her especially warm and charismatic and charming. And the relationship tends to be balanced, but Taylor will be the person who usually takes leadership on the occasions when it's needed because the Sun is like a king figure. The one thing to watch out for with this aspect is because the trine is so easy and supportive, making sure not to get too complacent in the relationship and let it just like become stagnant. That's going to be a little bit of a death knell for the relationship. But I think that because they have so many other aspects that are not as like pretty and easy, but much more like serious and faded, I don't think that's as much of an issue for their relationship. But it might be as they grow older, you know, as you get older, you get more and more complacent and comfortable in your relationships. They'll have to remember to keep the spark alive in whatever way Taylor Swift keeps the spark alive. Another very faded and karmic aspect is that Taylor's Saturn in Capricorn opposes Karlie's rising in Cancer. This is an indicator of a long-lasting relationship or even a marriage because both of these people feel a very strong sense of responsibility towards the other partner. But it's also an aspect that indicates that there will probably be external obstacles that crop up that are going to test their relationship. Saturn, of course, planet of like challenges and tests, and making sure that what you've built is really strong. And if it's not, tear it down and start over again. And I think that if there's one possible thing that I can say that is 100% true, it's that external obstacles have really challenged Taylor Swift and Karlie Kloss's relationship. Even if it was only ever a platonic relationship and they have never even kissed, they've kissed. External obstacles got in the way of their friendship. All we really do know for sure is external obstacles got in their way. And this aspect really requires open and honest communication between the two partners. Many aspects do. Any healthy relationship requires open and honest communication. That's a little bit of a given. Patience is a big one here because Saturn is slow and steady. So they need to be willing to be patient and let their relationship organically grow and get stronger over time because Saturn is a marathon, not a sprint. Saturn, of course, requests a very strong level of responsibility, that both partners each take responsibility for their own shit and the things that they do in the relationship. They need to take accountability for their own actions and for their own commitments and, things that they need to do to themselves, the work they need to do on themselves to help the relationship grow. They each need to be very responsible and committed to taking that action and not make false promises. And they also both really need to have a growth mindset because this is a relationship where the partners are going to be able to grow individually and together. But if they're not both committed to growth, then it's not going to work. It can't be a one-sided thing. It has to be both of them ready to go on a journey of growth together and truly committed to seeing that through. But overall, a Saturn opposed rising Synastry combination is such a good aspect for a relationship that will really help you mature, that will really help you grow physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And also because Taylor has her Saturn and her Neptune conjunct in Capricorn. Taylor has both her Saturn in Capricorn trine Karlie's Jupiter in Virgo, and Taylor's Neptune in Capricorn trine Karlie's Jupiter in Virgo. So for the Saturn trine Jupiter aspect, this is a really positive aspect and a blend of two very dissimilar planets, but that each contribute something very positive in this supportive trine aspect. Saturn's sense of responsibility and obligation creates a really strong and solid foundation for the relationship. And then Jupiter comes in and gives it a boost of optimism and encourages growth. Jupiter is like a big balloon that just like helps you grow and rise, and then also brings good fortune into that relationship. So you have a really good blend of a solid foundation plus a lot of confidence and good luck. And because this relationship is built on such a solid and Saturnian foundation, it creates a space where both people can feel very stable and secure and like they can be emotionally vulnerable with each other. It also indicates a very strong physical bond and a strong mutual admiration, as well as a good psychological connection that once again encourages mutual spiritual and emotional and mental growth. If there's one other thing that I know for sure, it's that Taylor and Karlie's relationship, platonic or romantic, made them both grow a lot as people. And then Neptune trine Jupiter is a little bit similar, but it's more about like being very spiritually compatible. Jupiter and Neptune are both spiritual planets. And so this indicates that these people are very kind and tolerant to each other. They're very compassionate. When other people are around these two people, they can really sense that their connection is very harmonic and it brings a sense of peace over whoever they're with. And compassion and goodwill are additional parts of this already stable Saturnian foundation that this relationship is founded on. There's a few aspects here that are not as positive, and specifically it's squares from Taylor's placements in Capricorn to Karlie's moon in Libra. The first one is that Taylor's Saturn in Capricorn makes a square to Karlie's moon in Libra, and this can indicate that when Karlie experiences things, she might have like a very knee-jerk emotional reaction right off the bat, and she might feel like Taylor's Saturn, being very disciplined and mature as it is, judges her for responding to things so emotionally right off the bat. Taylor, in turn, sees Karlie as overly emotional or overly defensive. And Taylor may even have a sense that she can't share her own emotions because Karlie's emotions are always more important. And of course, these are both of their chart rulers, Taylor's Saturn, Karlie's Moon. These are very important planets in their chart. So this is an aspect specifically that they have to be very intentional about. They have to both be very willing to be completely honest and vulnerable with each other. And when Karlie's feelings get hurt, she needs to be able to say, hey, that hurt my feelings. And Taylor needs to be able to say, hey, oh my gosh, I'm listening. I hear you. I'm so sorry. Please tell me how you feel and what I can do differently next time. As long as they have open communication and they're really dedicated to each other and their love and their relationship, this will work. But in a relationship where they are less committed to that, it's probably going to be a no-go. But Taylor will love them to the moon and to Saturn, so I think that they're a-okay. Now, Taylor's Neptune in Capricorn making a square to Karlie's Moon in Libra indicates that when they saw each other, when they first saw each other, it was like a dream come true. They were like, that is exactly what I am looking for in a partner. That is the partner that I've always dreamed of. And then as they got to know each other more and learned more about each other, they could start to get a little bit disillusioned because they're like, oh, I thought you were my dream person, but you actually have this thing that is a normal thing to have in a real life that is not always perfect that I didn't expect you to have. That's a bummer. And of course, this is not bad. Once again, Hannah Montana, nobody's perfect. We all know. But it can be hard when you've romanticized someone so much and that person ends up being real. And you're like, oh, not Neptune. He's done it again. This can also indicate that it's hard for these people to understand what's real and what's not. And Karlie can also have a feeling that Taylor, being the Neptune partner, is emotionally unavailable or unreachable. Neptune is so like, am I here or there? Honestly, I'm thinking about like quantum physics. Like you never know where she is. Their arguments can feel like a wound that's just being opened over and over again. They can have a harder time than most people reaching an agreement because Karlie is very emotional with her moon here. And Taylor is a little bit like doesn't know what's real. So they just have to be really committed to having discussions about their disagreements that are probably longer than most people's would be. But they're not most people, and this isn't most relationships. Any challenging aspect in Synastry can be overcome. And overcoming it will make your relationship much stronger. But you have to be so deeply in love and committed to the relationship, to each other, and to yourselves. And then finally, we have Taylor's Mercury in Capricorn making a square to Karlie's Moon in Libra. And this is a fundamental tension between logic, Mercury, and feelings, the moon. When they have disagreements, it can often be because Taylor wants clarity and logic and rationale, and Karlie wants emotional connection. And when they have disagreements, they can both feel like their needs aren't being met because they need different things. And because Karlie's moon is involved here, which is very sensitive, Karlie can take the things that Taylor says very personally, and Taylor can be a little bit cutting, and Mercury is very contrarian. Mercury is neither a benefic nor a malefic. It's neither male nor female. It sort of just is. And so Taylor can say things that are very mercurial that are not meant to hurt, but Karlie is so sensitive that she takes them as things that are meant to hurt her. This makes me think of, and this is me trying, when Taylor says, and my words shoot to kill when I'm mad, I have a lot of regrets about that. But once again, when they approach these conflicts and any discussion about a difficulty that they've had with this understanding and awareness of this aspect, and I know that Taylor is very into astrology, so they probably know all about this, but when they have that awareness and they, once again, have open and honest communication and a desire to work through it, it can make their relationship a lot stronger. It's sort of like learning to speak a different language. Okay, I'm going to touch on one more thing and then I'm going to wrap us up. So Taylor and Karlie both have mutual Venus-Mars aspects, and a Venus-Mars aspect causes like sexual tension, causes dynamic attraction, causes magnetism. And one way we have Taylor's Mars in Scorpio making a square to Karlie's Venus in Leo. But the other way we have Karlie's Mars in Gemini making a trine to Taylor's Venus in Aquarius. A trine is a very supportive and easy aspect, so this usually makes for like a longer lasting but less sexually explosive, intense relationship. However, the square aspect that we have from Taylor's Mars to Karlie's Venus makes for a lot of sexual tension. So they honestly have both, the best of both worlds in this situation. They have a lot of sexual tension up front, and they have a very sustaining relationship on the other side. Plus, Taylor's Venus in Aquarius, the number one aspect I look for to indicate to me that someone is gay. Side note, but I was actually looking at Madeline Klein's birth chart the other day, and she has a 12th house moon, and she has an Aquarius Venus. And I was like, I think Madeline Klein might be gay, because both of those things, like 12th house moon, emotional repression of some sort, Aquarius Venus gay, seems to line up. Don't know that much about Madeline Klein, to be quite honest, but maybe I'll do an episode on her one day. Anyway, that is the synastry of Taylor Swift and Karlie Kloss. I think we're going to learn a lot about this relationship over the next year, over the next 3 months, when The Life of a Showgirl comes out. And I will be nitpicking every single thing and doing song lyric analyses here and on TikTok at Popstrology Pod. So if you're interested in that, I definitely recommend following along. It should be a great time. A wonderful show by our showgirl. Anyway, my name is Jessie James. I'm a professional astrologer. If you are interested in booking an astrology reading, whether that's a synastry reading about someone that you are friends with or interested in a romantic relationship with, or a personal birth chart reading, I would love to work with you. I love astrology more than anything, and I take a very trauma-informed and practical and realistic approach to my astrology practice. So if you're looking for real tangible insights that you can apply, I definitely recommend booking a reading. You can do so on my website at popstrologypod.com/readings, or you can go directly to my booking page at calendly.com/popstrology. You can also follow me on social media. You'll find me on TikTok and Instagram at popstrologypod, as well as my personal Instagram account at astrojessie_. Anyway, I love you all very, very much. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If so, I would really appreciate if you liked the video and subscribed to my channel. It means the world to me. But anyway, I love you. Thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you next week in the midst of my move, but astrology is always important. Bye.